Hello, and welcome back to Let's Play NieR. So, let us continue with the second, continuation playthrough. That's the word I'm looking for.
Whenever I interacted with Kainé, I was reminded about something from my past. Maybe my mind has been confusing her with my sister this whole time.
Don't worry, it does get different.
Here we go.
So yeah, we'll be seeing what Kainé was experiencing as she woke up. Kainé's dreams, discrimination. The sound of rain filled the village. The steep cliffs that surrounded the area magnified sound, causing even the slightest drizzle to rattle like a thunderstorm. Thin wisps of smoke streamed from the huts Thin wisps of smoke streamed from the huts as villagers huddled in their homes waiting for the rain to stop. A single child, however, had to brave the downpour and was now wandering slowly towards the wooden hawk-shaped weather. Vane at the centre of town. The water reached the vein and had existed for as long as any could remember, and stared. The child's face was simultaneously delicate and fierce, like a teacup that had survived a shipwreck. Those traits combined with a pale white skin and to give the face an almost sexless quality. If the beak turns east and I go home, if it stays west, then the child blinked, rain slowly dripping down the young one's short hair, and began its long descent to the ground. Come on. Come on! The child felt the slight breeze and watched as the vein slowly creaked to life, spinning its way, this way and that for a moment. It finally settled, with the beak pointing firmly east. East? Really? Before the vein could move again, the jagged rock came spinning and tumbling through the air, finally striking home against the child's head. The force of the blow dropped the child to the ground as a hail of stones began to fall all around. Oh no! They found me! The heartbreaking smile crept across the child's face as the stones continued their assault. Through the rain, the sound of multiple footsteps grew louder before the voice rang out. Yoo-hoo! Kainé! The voice belonged to Demo, worst of all the bullies in the area. As Kainé struggled to stand, the final stone came skirting through the mud and bounced against her foot. Blood oozed from the cut above her eye and blurred her vision, but she could make out the shapes of Demo and the usual gang of idiots. The boy seemed taken back by the moment by Kainé's seemingly indifference to the blood dripping from her face, but quickly regained his bravado. What's up, freak? You like the rain? You like getting all wet? Or do you finally decide to run away from home? Though she knew it was futile, Kainé turned to leave. Before she could get more than a few steps, the other children scrambled to surround her, cruelty burning in their eyes. Kainé knew that these were not the only eyes on her. They were not the only eyes on her. The tormentor's parents watched from the safety of their homes. She was attuned to the sensation. It was one she had experienced many times. While some villagers simply turned a blind eye to the actions of their children, many encouraged it openly. In a society ruled by superstition and fear, Kainé was something to be hated, and if possible, destroyed. I didn't say you could leave, freak! Daimo's words chewed at her like a worm through an apple. He can't hurt me. She lied to herself. Be strong, be brave. He can't hurt me. He can't hurt me. He can't hurt me. Oh, look, the little freak is gonna cry. What's wrong? Are you sad that everyone hates you and wants you dead? Kainé prayed for the rain to flood down and carry her away from the world it seemed to have no place for her. But, if there were gods, they chose to ignore her. As Daimyo crept ever closer, the clouds began to thin and the rain slowed. Even the weather hates me. I am useless, a failure. I wish Daimyo's rock had taken my head off. Kainé couldn't meet Daimyo's leering gaze. She lowered her eyes and stared at the muddy ground below. The bully moved forward until he was inches away. She could smell the scent of old meat from his breath. The boy grabbed Kainé's face with thick fingers and yanked it upwards. She tried to turn away, but he forced her gaze back and jammed his thumb against her eyelid to pry it open. You're a freak. No, I'm not. Don't just say no. Did you just say no? Daimyo grinned evilly. Did you just say no to me? No one says no to me. Not even taking his attention from Kainé, he called over his cohorts. Come on, guys, let's give this freak what she deserves. As soon as Daimyo's finished, kicks and blows began to rain down upon Kainé. Daimyo paused, and still grinning, as Kainé curled into a ball and tried to make the pain stop. You don't get it, freak. What you acting like a girl for, huh? Everyone knows who you really are. What you really are, even. Kainé ignored the question, choosing instead to stare at the weather vane. It continued to point east, as if seemingly confident about the future it had chosen for her. Go home? Yeah, that's a funny joke for someone with dead parents and no home to go to. Freak! Chanted the children. Freak! 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 Kainé closed her eyes and listened to the rain, waiting for the pain to start again. As the clutching hands of the village children closed around her, she bent her mind to the sound of rain, letting it become her world entire. The rain fell, but the pain never came. Only when the laughter of her torments turned to terrified cries did she dare open a single blood-caked eye. Kainé was shocked to see that Daimyo sprawled on the ground, holding his head and screaming in pain. She could see blood welling from the spaces between his fat, twisted fingers. Oh my god! He's crying? He's actually crying? Deprived of their leader, the children glanced back and forth between themselves, as if waiting for someone to step forward and take charge. When no savior emerged, they began to uneasily shuffle away from Kainé. But the young girl was the least of their concerns. Instead, their attention was wrapped on the ancient woman standing a few feet away. After struggling for breath for a moment, she finally spoke in a voice thick with rage. Hurts like a bitch, don't it? Now I suggest you scatter before I throw another one. And if you little bastards ever touch my Kainé again, I'll do far worse than throw a rock. You can count on that. The old woman crouched down and gently touched the hand of Daimyo, was using to cover the wounds. Before he could think to protest, she grounded her palm into the wound and twisted it back and forth. Ow! Ow! He screamed, leaping to his feet. Stop it! What are you doing? Quit whining. Ain't no one ever died from a scratch. You hit me with a rock, you stupid bitch! A big one! That could have killed me! The old woman shrugged. Death is the best cure for stupid. Daimyo's face twisted with rage at her words. Locking his eyes with Kainé, he took a step backwards and spat on the ground. Get out! Leave the village! No one wants you here. Either of you. Oops, sorry. Seeing the old woman grab another stone, Daimyo and his companions turned tail and ran. As they fled, the old woman grabbed her side and barked out a single laugh. Look at you, fat boy, go! Guess he's healthy enough to run from a fight. The woman's smile faded as she turned her attention to Kainé. Kneeling down, she removed the scroll and placed it around the young girl's shoulder, then proceeded to produced a cloth from the folds in her dress and began to blot at the blood. Blotting at the blood on her forehead. Oh, Kainé, she said. Why do you fight back? Why don't you fight back? You're stronger than that lot. The words of her grandmother stung Kainé as she turned away. Don't be nice. Don't be nice to me, she said. I don't deserve it. Nothing matters anymore. Her tears her tears held in check for so long, finally began to fall in the muddy ground below. Everyone hates me. They think I cause bad things to happen. They think I'm a freak. I wish I was dead. As Kainé's tears turned to sobs, she felt her grandmother's hands on her shoulders. Despite her advanced age and diminutive size, she was a woman of surprising strength, and Kainé found herself unable to turn away. Don't talk like that, Kainé. It's a river wide and deep that flows between the realms of this world and the next, and it grants no mercy for any that attempt at crossing. You gotta fight, duty to fight until your last breath. Understand? The old woman tightened her grip and tried to still the tremor in her voice. You know the pain of losing someone close to you, Kainé? You know, because you survived it. As the words hit home, Kainé was struck by the force of her love for the old woman. As a young child, she didn't even know her grandmother, but when her parents died, the woman quickly accepted her as her own. Grandma, as Kainé had called her, was cunning, vulgar, and quick to violence, and their first few years together had not been easy. But with each year that passed, Kainé and her grandmother had grown closer. However, it was only now, sitting in the mud with tears and blood caking her face, that Kainé truly understands the depths of her affection. Here was a woman who had seen hard times, who had seen death, who had fought through all these things and somehow emerged on the other side. If anyone could understand Kainé's pain and loneliness, it was her. Do I make you sick, Grandma? Of course not. Don't be an ass. Kainé drew her grandmother's moth-eaten shawl around her body and shuddered. But my body, it's not normal. If it was normal, then Mum and Dad wouldn't. Hush, interrupted my grandma. I'll not hear a single word of this nonsense. You're my granddaughter and I love you, and if folks have a problem with that, well, they can just go to hell. With that, the old woman reached out and placed a wreath of dried flowers on Kainé's hair. The skill it took to bend the flowers without breaking the stems or losing a single petal was remarkable, and the beauty of it made Kainé want to cry all over again. Oh my gosh, these are lunar tears. Grandma, you made this for me? Lunar tears were the legendary flowers that most people could live their entire lives without ever seeing one, and yet her grandmother had somehow collected a dozen or more. Kainé reached up and touched the wreath, as she couldn't believe it was real. Where did you find these? Oh, you know, I just stumbled on them one day and I was out doing shopping. The old woman turned away as she was explaining, leading Kainé to suspect that the search had been more difficult than she was letting on. The pains she took to construct the ornament, let alone track down the flowers used in its construction, made Kainé's heart hurt. She reached up and gently adjusted the wreath, admiring the way that it felt between her fingers. Didn't quite turn out right, her grandma said, squatting on it. These old hands are having trouble with the delicate work, but it sure looks good on a pretty girl like you. Kainé blushed and turned away. You think I'm pretty? Of course you are. What fool would say what a fool's thing to say. Thank you, Grandma. Her grandmother smiled. We're going to be fine, you and me, she said. As long as we have each other, we will be fine. Kainé took her grandmother's hand in hers, and the two of them struggled to their feet. As they began the long walk home, Kainé gripped the hand with all of her might, as if trying to stop smoke from drifting away in the wind. The rain had stopped. Kainé stood beneath the weather vane, watching it as it spun lazily in circles, no longer caring the direction it faced, and then stopped. I don't need to escape. I have a home now. Grandma loves me, and that's enough. Even if it is us against the world. Kainé let her gaze drift up past the vane and into the cloudy sky. The last faint hits of the rainbow were slowly fading. Hints of the rainbow, sorry. As she turned and headed for home, the light scattered into a million particles and vanished, seemingly taken away on a breeze. Kainé's dreams, daily life. In the distance, Kainé heard the steady sounds of an axe striking wood. The noise had a purposeful quality to it, as if she had been hearing a master woodsman boil about his work. The firewood being produced, however, was far from the work of art, as it could be pieces of every shape and size were being flung about in the barren yard with a wild abandon. Anyone trying to sack such wood would probably die with frustration before the job was through. Stack, sorry, my mistake. Stupid piece of shit axe! Kainé's grandmother flailed away with the axe, filling the air with both splinters and woods, splinters of wood and words that would make a hardened sailor blush. Grandma, called Kainé. What? Yelled the old woman, taking her eyes off the wood for a moment. Oh, it's you, Kainé. Don't get too close. I might take your goddamn foot off by mistake. She brought the axe down on another piece of wood, sending chips flying in every direction. One spun past Kainé close enough for her to hear the whistle, at which point she decided to step back. When she'd scuttled to a safe distance, she cupped her hands around her mouth and shouted, Grandma! Do you need help? I can get water or lunch or a new axe or something. The axe, poised to strike another wobbly blow, paused in midair. The old woman considered her granddaughter's offer for a moment and then smiled. Tell you what, since I'm doing such a piss poor job at chopping, why don't you come here and take over so I can go get the water? Jeez, I've been restless lately, and I don't want you running into one of them bastards. Relinquishing the axe, her grandmother picked up a long pole with the wooden buckets on either end. Gathering water was far from the more difficult of the two jobs, but Kainé knew better than to complain. Once grandmother's mind was made up, there was no changing it. Kainé did her best to help with the chores. Grandma took every task that required travel to the village. Though she had a long list of plausible excuses, Kainé knew the real reason. She didn't want her granddaughter to be taunted and harassed by the villagers. Once Kainé moved in, Grandma decided to take up the residence a good distance away from Aerie. Out of sight and out of mind seemed to be the best policy when it came to the villagers and her grandmother. Rare were the days when any but the two of them could be found on the rocky acre of land they called home. Kainé enjoyed the solitude, but harboured a secret resentment that her grandmother was forced to spend her golden years within such a place. I'm sorry, I'm failing miserably to read, but I am dyslexic, so apologies for that. After watching her grandmother leave, Kainé turned her attention to the task at hand. She'd never chopped wood before in her life, and soon discovered why the old woman hated the chore. Swing after swing of the axe producing only a tiny crack in the wood, and when she finally managed to contact with a solid stroke, the tool embedded itself in the log and refused to budge. Frustrated, Kainé swung the axe around her head and threw it, log and all, across the yard. Damn it! Ah, crap! She suddenly understood the joy of her grandmother felt in the good curse. Happier now, she picked up the axe and forced it from the wood, and then resumed chopping. She had a natural skill with the blade, but the task was challenging and blisters soon began to form in her small, pink hands. This is tough, and my logs are all twisted into weird sizes and shapes. Splintering in her palms and ignoring spitting in her palms and ignoring the pain, Kainé redoubled her efforts. Just as she was developing a rhythm, Grandmother returned from the village. Setting down her buckets in a small sigh, she took one look at the logs and coughed out a wheezing laugh. Put it in clumsy, girl. You better practice if you... Her grandmother suddenly collapsed to her knees, causing one of the buckets to wobble precariously. Eyes wide, Kainé dropped the axe and ran to her grandmother's side. Grandma! The old woman shook her head and pointed a trembling finger at the bucket. Get the bucket! I can't let it spill! Kainé steadied the bucket with a foot as she knelt before her grandmother. A small bit of water sloshed over the side and made a new home in the hem of her dress, but Kainé didn't notice. Grandma! Grandma! What's happening? Crazed with panic, she grabbed her grandmother by the shoulders and shook. After a moment, the woman lifted her arms and batted Kainé away. Stop that! Just stop that now! She cried, breathing heavily. It ain't like I'm dying. Just tired up from the trip, that's all. Kainé desperately wanted to believe her, but one look at the woman's shaking hands and worn face told her more than words could ever. Her grandmother had lived a long, hard life, and it seemed the bill was coming due. The time when her grandmother watched over Kainé was ending. Sooner than either of them had feared, the positions would be reversed. The next morning, Kainé came to the side of her grandmother's bed and took her wrinkled hand. Grandma, you're sick and you need medicine. I'm gonna go to the village. The old woman shook her head and tried to rise, but Kainé gently pushed her down. It's all right, she said. I'll be fine. Her grandmother fixed a gaze that could melt steel. After what seemed like an eternity, she finally lowered her eyes and sighed. Well, I don't like it, god damn it. But I guess I should quit being so stubborn and let you grow up. The old woman watched as Kainé strapped on her boots and made her way down to the roads to the village. Hours later, as an unseen sun made its way across the dark sky and rainy skies, she was still watching. Kainé moved at a brisk pace, checking her pockets every few minutes to make sure her money, the money her grandmother gave her was still there. Every noise caused her to spin on her heels, making sure she wasn't being stalked by a shade, or worse, Demio and his gang. But she encountered neither torments nor shades, and Kainé finally found herself at the entrance of the village. The few adults she could she could see glance sideways at her, and then mutter to each other behind raised hands before sinking away into the shadows. Her heart racing, Kainé took to the series of rapid, shallow breaths and tried to calm herself. I have to prove myself. I have to help Grandma. I have to be strong. She chanted those words to herself over and over as she slowly made her way. Finally, her eyes settled on the rotund older woman who was angrily waving her arms in the air and telling everyone who would listen exactly what she thought of Kainé's presence. Hey lady, said Kainé with bravado she did not feel. Where's the apothecary? The old woman's flabby cheeks shook in bewildered anger. How dare this thing speak to me? She seemed to say, but Kainé saw that in her eyes held a different emotion. Fear. Yeah, we're both scared, lady. Trust me on this one. Which way? Kainé repeated. The woman pointed at a small building on her right before hitching up her dress and stumbling off to another direction. Kainé cringed, expecting a stone to come flying from the assembled crowd, but none came. Her mind was filled with a strange sense of pride. She made her way to the apothecary, but the new emotion had a little time to take root. For as soon as she opened the door, she noticed a familiar customer at the counter. It was Demio. He'd clearly been sent here on some kind of family errand, because his gang of followers were nowhere to be found. "Oh my god," he spluttered. What are you doing here, freak?" The insult was delivered without force, and Kainé happily ignored it. Stretching on her tiptoes to see over the counter, she asked the shopkeeper for the medicine. "Ha!" barked Demio. "That old bitch finally kneel over?" "Go to hell, Demio." The boy's eyes grew so wide that they seemed ready to fall out of his head. But before he could let fly another comeback, or worse, a punch, the apothecary told him to knock it off before he kicked him out of the store. Demio slunk out the shop, cursing Kainé under his breath. Once he was gone, she allowed herself to breathe once more, taking a brief tour of the shop while the owner was preparing her medicine. Countless tiny bottles filled the cramped store, each with a label written in an indecipherable language. An ocean of aromas assaulted our nose, creating a scent that was exotic but not altogether unpleasant. Seeing such a variety of supplies gave Kainé a sense of peace. Surely, in a world so vast, there might be a place that she could call home. On the far wall behind the counter rested a portrait of a stunning young girl. The picture had contained the bright, vibrant colours, but time had worked its magic, and they were beginning to fade. The beauty of the work, however, remained undiminished. "You like the picture?" Kainé turned to find the apothecary with a small vial of medicine in his hands. His eyes were gentle, but sad, and they seemed to stare through her and into nothing as they spoke. "That's my daughter," I sketched it when she was a little girl. She's dead a long time ago now." Kainé didn't know how to respond. She just stared at the portrait and tried to come up with the right words. "Pictures are wonderful things," continued the shopkeeper. "They let the ones close to you live on forever." He shook his head slightly and then looked down at Kainé and smiled, handing over her medicine. He reached into his sizable green apron and produced a handful of old wax crayons. "You should have these. There's no one left that I wish to draw." Kainé took an instinctive step back and caused the shopkeeper's face to darken. "Yes, I've heard the rumors about you," he said. "It's a small village and words travel quickly. Between you and me, I'm not sure which of them to believe, but I also don't think they matter much. I know your grandmother, Kali, and I think the way that she was driven out of the town is just deplorable." "Grandma's name was Kali?" thought Kainé suddenly. She was still mulling this new fact over in her mind as she reached out and gently took the crayons from the apothecary's hands. "Your grandmother is an old friend of mine," he said as Kainé scooted away from her yet again, "and I owe her much. I'm willing to wager that she would like it if you drew her a picture." "Yes, I think she would like that very much." Kainé murmured in quiet agreement, but inside her heart was bursting. Never before had a villager treated her with anything but complete contempt. It was a tiny, almost imperceivable step, but it was a step nonetheless, and with enough tiny steps, she might be able to one day discover the rest of the world. When Kainé returned home, she found her grandmother asleep in the bed. Her feet were blackened and raw, even bleeding a bit in places, leading Kainé to think that she had been pacing around the room until exhaustion finally caught up with her. She placed the medicine by her grandmother's pillow and turned to leave, but found the old woman's hand grasped around her arm. "Back already, are you?" asked grandmother with a yawn. "Come here and let me have a look at you." Grandmother sat up and examined Kainé from head to toe, finally satisfied that nothing terrible had befallen her grandchild. She leaned back and allowed herself to relax. Well, how was it? Did those bastards give you any trouble? It was kind of fun, said Kainé with a small smile. No, I'm serious, it was. It was fun, was it? Asked Grandmother in a voice which implied that she didn't believe anything but. So anytime you need me to run an errand, just let me know. As she spoke, Kainé removed the crayons from her pocket. After a brief explanation of their source, she informed her mother that she was going to sketch out her portrait. A portrait of me? Ridiculous! No one wants to stare at a wrinkled old crone. But Grandma, it'll make you live forever. Horse manure, she said her grandmother, throwing back the sheets from her bed. Living forever would just piss me off. Now put those crayons away and help me with dinner. But Kainé would not relent, and in the end, Grandmother found herself leaning against the wall and in their house as if posing for a master artist. Kainé took up the crayons and eyed her subject carefully. Just as her grandmother was about to nod off, Kainé finished the work. After staring at it for a bit, she realised it was from her grip and let it slowly drift to the floor. It's terrible, it doesn't look at all like you. I'm sorry, Grandmother, I thought these crayons would, make drawing easy or something. The old woman's eyes narrowed in her daughter's disappointment. Let me be the judge of that, she said, ignoring the pain from her back and reaching for the paper. The sketch could have been a person's face, it could also have been a boulder, a lump of clay, or an incredibly misshapen loaf of bread, all rendered in a chaotic array of colours. The old woman stared at the picture for a long time and then slowly wheezed out a laugh. Oh, Kainé, she said between the laughter. You truly are my blood, you're as clumsy as me, and I love it. But, hush, I won't hear I won't hear any more about this bull about how ugly you think it is. It came from your heart, and I will treasure it always. True to her word, the old woman gave the picture a place of honour above the kitchen table. In the days that followed, Kainé would often catch her staring at the portrait with a strange smile on her face, an action she interpreted as silent, mocking laughter. A week later, Kainé would stand it no more and asked her grandmother to take the artwork down. Psh, said the old woman. I'll take this down when they roll me in my shroud. She pondered out this for a bit. What? She pondered this for a bit, then turned to Kainé and she dropped to one knee. Listen to me, girl. Seeing this picture makes me happy in a way that I've never felt before, and makes me want to go on. So that someday I can feel the same happiness. It is a moment that burned itself into Kainé's memory, a perfect blend of pride, love, and joy that came together to form a lifelong remembrance. She swore she would never forget this moment, never forget the old woman who had made her place in the world possible. Time moves on. People and memories come in and out of this life like ghosts passing through the hall. But this moment will be different, Kainé swore, because I will remember it forever. Forever. Yeah, we're going to have a bit of a long episode. Kainé listened to the sound of crackling firewood and stared back at the black of the object on her plate. She'd been pushing it around the wooden disc for a good 10 minutes or so, ignoring the bemused stare of her grandmother. Finally, she summoned the courage and gave her object a brief sniff. A sharp, bitter scent flew up her nostrils and made its home there, causing her face to twist with disgust. Grandma, I can't believe you want me to eat a bug. The old woman threw some more wood under the cooking pot and snorted. It's no bug, you foul girl. It's a berry. What the hell are you feeding? Why the hell would I be feeding you bugs? Yeah, well, it looks like a bug, said Kainé, and I think it's burnt or something because it smells terrible. With that, Kainé held her nose and threw the berry into her mouth, trying as little as possible. Oh yeah, that's terrible, alright. Why, you little brat, laughed the old woman. Look at the sass in you. You've been spending too much time with me. That's a fact. 5 years had passed since the moment when Kainé's grandmother saved her from the bullies. As is often the way with two stubborn people, their relationship had grown in fits and starts, but moved forward all the same. Meals that used to be sombre affairs are now filled with laughter and hurled abuse in equal measure. Kainé could not remember in a time when she was happier. As the years went by, Kainé started to shoulder more and more of the daily responsibilities. Her grandmother's legs grew weaker by the day, and she could no longer do many of the chores that she used to take for granted. And so, this morning found Kainé lacing up her work boots with a breakfast of burned berry rolling in her belly. Where are you going today? Asked grandmother suddenly. Kainé looked up surprised. The old woman rarely asked for any specifics anymore. Well, I was going to check out the kelma trees and see if they were ripe. I thought we could make some jam or something. Oh, and I'm going to pick some flagstones. So I need to take the wheelbarrow. Flagstones? What in the hell for? Kainé stared at her grandmother and held out an arm, sweeping it around their home. Constructed mostly of cloth, rope and rubble. The old place sagged like a boxer in the final round. Grandma, a dying cat would chew through this house. I'm going to build a stone wall so we can have some protection. The old woman laughed, exposing her toothless grin to the world. God damn it, girl. If a bunch of thieves want to ransack this old place, let them come. We got nothing worth stealing. Anyway, I'm not worried about thieves, I'm worried about shades. People saw one west of the village yesterday. The old woman tilted her head and stared at her granddaughter. Well, shoot. I don't know what we have, why you have to do it today. Can't we worry about this some other... Grandma, no. If I don't go to the kelma trees, we won't be able to eat tonight. You know that. A confused expression passed across the old woman's face, and for a moment, she was a small child and lost in a carnival. Yes, she said after a bit. Yes, of course. You're right. I'm sorry, Kainé. Lately, it seems my mind is. She didn't finish the thought, instead walking over to her nightstand and gently taking the wreath of lunar tears from the drawer. The flower's petals had aged to a brilliant whiteness, and Kainé thought it was more beautiful now than the day when she first received it. You're going to be a true woman soon, Kainé's grandmother said as she placed the flowers in the girl's hair. So that means less chatter about shades and more building defensive walls and more about how beautiful you've become. Annoyed, Kainé reached up and removed the garland, but the look on her grandmother's face stopped her hand. You're a beautiful thing, said the old woman, and there ain't any like you in the world. I'm very proud of you. Okay, Grandma, that's enough goddamn compliments for the one day. Such a mouth on you. Where did it come from? Gee, I wonder. I'll teach you to sass me, girl, yelled Grandma. Suddenly, she lurched forward and grabbed Kainé by the ears, pulling her around the room with a crazed grin on her face. Grandma, yelled Kainé in a quaking voice. Grandma, stop it! What in the hell? The old woman stared at her and blinked, then slowly held her wrinkled hands out as if it was for the first time she'd seen them. I don't know what happened there. I'm sorry, girl. Sometimes my mind just... Kainé thought the look on her grandmother's face was most disheartening. Listen, she said. Maybe I should stay home after all. No, I won't have you staying here and keeping an eye on an old codger like me. You go get your fruit and wall or whatnot, and I'll be fine. And when you come back, you'll have nice grasshopper dinner waiting for you. Kainé rolled her eyes and then kissed her grandmother on the forehead and made ready to depart, trying desperately to ignore the worry that was gnawing at the walls of her heart. Kainé could feel the old woman's eyes watching as she moved down the path. Don't turn around, she told herself, but in the end the temptation was too great. She spun on her heel and took one final look and saw a small, bent woman standing on the front of the ramshack hut, with a sad expression on her face. Gods, she looks so old now. It's like the wind could reach down and just carry her away. Kainé worried about her grandmother all day, causing her work to suffer. What little fruit she could collect was tossed carelessly into the wheelbarrow, and she only found a project couple of stones before losing interest in the project. Finally, as dusk approached, she decided to call it a day. Cursing herself for the lack of focus, Kainé pushed the nearly empty wheelbarrow back down the path. As she crested the final hill, she suddenly froze in place. The wheelbarrow fell from her fingers and then collapsed on the side, sending a few pieces of wrinkled brown fruit rolling back down the hill. Her gaze was transfixed on a thick black cloud that hovered just ahead, tracing its path with a finger. Kainé suddenly felt her stomach knot in on itself. No! Oh gods, no! Her grandmother's house was ablaze, the flames licking up as if they were trying to touch the sky itself. Grandma! Grandma! Kainé ran, then faster than she'd ever moved in her life, when she tripped on a stone and then sprawled into a rocky ground. But she leapt from to her feet and continued running, unmindful of the blood that was spilling from her wounded hands and knees. As she got closer and closer, Kainé's mind began to race in time with her footsteps. It's too dark. It's too dark. Not just fire. It can't be fire. Too much smoke. Gotta save her. Gotta save her. She burst into the front yard and came to the sudden halt. Her worst suspicion confirmed. The smoke from the fire was mingling with the thick, inky blackness of an enormous shade. The massive creature supporting itself on the three twisted feet. They are achieved balance through means of which a large armoured tail, scales, horns and claws sprouted from the body in a random chaotic pattern, giving it the appearance of a lizard, designed by some insane god. Seeing Kainé, it let out a roar and flicked its tail, sending small whirlwinds spinning around the yard. For a moment the creature retreated into the shimmering inky blackness, as if her mind was unable to comprehend such a thing could really exist. But then the smell hit her, a blend of rotted meat and excrement, and the horror became real once more. The creature bellowed again, and this time Kainé responded with a scream of her own. "Alright, you bastard!" she thought as her scream echoed off the high cliffs around them. "It's you or me! Let's go!" The shade eyed Kainé in bemused interest. Then it began looking from her to the house and back again, as if urging her to look at the destruction that had so gleefully wrought. With dread building in her heart, Kainé glanced toward the house. Through the smoke and flame, she spotted a small figure struggling to escape the ruins. "Grandma!" The sound of her voice, the old woman began waving frantically. "She's alive!" thought Kainé. "She's alive!" Kainé's legs sprang to life as she raced across the yard towards the flaming wreckage of her house. Before she could advance more than a few steps, the shade opened its mouth and let out a roar powerful enough to uproot trees and send them flying. The blast sent Kainé tumbling through the air before smashing her against the rocky earth. Stars danced in front of her eyes as she tried to remember how her legs worked. Get up! 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 Now! As Kainé struggled to her feet, the shade stomped towards the house and pinned her grandmother to the ground with the tip of a claw. The old woman struggled to move the claw from her stomach, but she might as well have been pushing him out. She coughed briefly, sending a small spray of blood into the air, then collapsed to the ground, her energy spent. Kainé lurched to her feet, only to fall back to the earth with a gasp. Her ankles were on fire. One, or both of them, surely broken. Ignoring the pain that screamed through her body, she began to drag herself across the ground, leaving a drunken trail of dust and blood in her wake. Grandma! Hold on! Just a little longer! Her grandmother's face turned blue. Her eyes rolled back until only the whites of were exposed. Kainé pulled herself across the ground with maddening slowness. The distance seemed to increase with every second that passed. The shade glanced between the two women and flickered out his tongue. His giant mouth turned into the and up at the corners. Short, panting breaths belched from somewhere deep inside his core. Bastard! It's laughing at us. She had no idea how such a mindless creature could experience motion, but there could be no doubt that the shade was taking joy in their suffering. Yeah, I see your plan. The shade moved at its paw slightly, allowing Grandma to breathe again. It was clearly keeping her alive, only to snuff her out when... only to snuff out her life when Kainé was close enough to touch her. I'm gonna kill you for this, bastard. Summoning all her strength, Kainé rose to her feet. There was a sickening snap in her right ankle as the foot twisted backwards, but she forced it from her mind and began to hobble towards the monster. Pulling a small knife from a pouch in her waist, she leapt on the foot that pinned her grandmother and plunged the weapon in deep. "Give her back!" she screamed. "Give her back to me!" It was like stabbing a rock. After a few swipes, the knife broke at the hilts with a dull snap. The shade panted out with laughter again and then raised its tail, sending it rushing through the air towards the young girl that had latched onto its foot. Kainé never had a chance. The tail struck between her square in the chest and sent her crashing into the burning wreckage of the home. As she lay in the ground with blood pouring from multiple wounds, a small, weak voice spoke up. "Kainé?" Kainé's vision blurred, but she was forcing herself to focus on the sound. Finally, her eyes cleared enough for her to make out her grandmother's hands reaching out for her through the smoke. Grandma! Kainé! You've got to run! You can't defeat him! Kainé grabbed the hands and held on with all of her strength. "Grandma, come on! We have to go!" The old woman coughed loudly. One of her hands, slick with blood, slipped from Kainé's grasp and thumped to the ground below. "No! Grandma, no! I said run, goddammit! You have to live! You have to get through!" The thought that would stay forever unfinished. Before she could say another word, the shade's claw foot descended, smashing through the remnants of the roof and down upon the shattered figure of the old woman. Blood oozed thickly from the gaps in the creature's toes, as the terrible, putrid smell assaulted Kainé's nose once again. She stared at the foot, dumbfounded, convinced that seeing could not possibly be real. When the creature finally lifted its appendage, all that remained underneath was a twisted, unrecognizable mass of rubble and red. Her grandmother was gone. Kainé blinked, trying to feel her hands, which had been... trying to feel the hands which had been in hers just a moment before. For a fleeting instant, she could remember the warmth of that embrace, the trembling of the breeze of fingers, but then a sensation drifted away in a breeze that was gone. Memories flashed through Kainé's mind, one after the other, faster and faster, until they became meaningless jangling of noise. Kainé screamed in a thunderous sound that echoed off the cliffs and seemed to roll away forever. The shade eased forward, black ichor pouring from its mouth and dissolving into a smoke on the ground below. The earth shook with every step that as it crept towards its prey. Kainé's body slowly rose, as if controlled by a mad puppeteer. Her arms and legs were bent into impossible angles. Her head lolled dangerously on the side. Yet, somehow she managed to stand. Staring at the shade, her eyes began to glow with a deep red fire. The creature was so confident just moments before it took a slow, hesitant step backwards, trying to discern if the broken human could possibly pose a threat. Kainé seized the moment and laughed like a mad woman. She leapt into the air and plunged her shattered hilt of her knife deep into the leg of the shade. The shade shook off Kainé like a fly, sending her crashing to the earth once again. Her chest rose and fell slowly, as if the great weight were releasing on it. Moist sounds of pain echoed through her mind. Something warm and thick oozed from her ears. Is that blood? I think it is. I think I'm bleeding to death. No. Can't die. Grandma told me to live. Deep inside Kainé's mind, something finally broke. The sound, the pain, the smoke, the flames, all of it faded away until all that had remained was a single incantation repeated over and over again. Kill it, 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 kill it. Kill it now! As if the spark that was Kainé slowly began to flicker and die. She felt her desire to kill and her desire to live blend into one. The distance between the heartbeats grew longer and longer and longer.
The beast approaches.
Oh, I got it.
I believe that's all there is different. Whoa, my head is weird. Sorry, from the reading, my head's weird. I'm very bad at reading. It makes me mildly dizzy at times. I don't know, I don't understand, it's weird. Well. Come on in.
Stretch must have. How did it even survive these past 5 years?
I'm not gonna let this happen again. He dies one day.
I'm surprised you're not taking any damage.
It's not the blade, but the skill of the user. Strike him down.
There we go. Yep, just thought I'd finish it off while you were here just in case, there was anything else there. I apologise for this being so long, but it is one of the reading ones, so I'm not too surprised, honestly. Apologies if you could have read that so much quicker than I. It's just, I'm dyslexic, so, Also, I thought it'd be nice to read it out loud. Well, welcome back, Kainé. Oh god, we have another one? Shoot, you know what? I'm actually going to leave it there, I guess. Otherwise, we're going to end up over an hour. And I think 50 odd minutes is good enough. So I'll leave it there, and until next time, all the best, and I hope...